What is going on, Niner fans? How we feeling? We're almost at the draft. We're almost a week away. It's Wednesday. By tomorrow, it's gonna be a week away from the NFL draft, and I can't wait. So, how's everybody doing? What's good? Let's talk about it. There's been a lot of 30 visits. Now, I have different opinions on these things depending on how you look at it. A lot of it could be these are guys the 49ers just want to get more intel on, a little bit more information. A lot of times they don't draft these 30 guys. If you remember last year, Ricky Persall says he didn't even know they were going to draft him. Trey Lance said it a couple years ago. He was not sure they were going to draft him. So a lot of times they don't necessarily draft these 30 visit guys. I mean, every once in a while, yeah, but they're trying to cultivate, a group of guys they may like and also to put out feelers out there. Also, I feel a lot of these 30 visits could be smoke screens. But, I mean, I think, too, the Niners just like to scout players, see who's available. There's top talent out there. You want to at least, see if, they fit your needs. But there's other guys they look at film. There's so many aspects of how the 49ers, conduct their scouting. But, I mean, just like any team, every team looks through not just the visits. They look at the film. They look at the body of work, the pro days and all that stuff, the combine. So it'll be interesting, but we'll talk about some of the 30 visits because they've had a lot over the last couple of days. I believe tomorrow we'll get like a good list. Matt Barrows was saying last time, a couple of days ago, that he expects a list on Thursday. We'll see if they post a list or whatnot tomorrow. If not, it is what it is. We can just keep going off these reports. Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, Mike Garofalo, Tom Pelissero. Everybody's been reporting on the 30 visits. So a team gets up to 30 players that could come and visit and schedule actual live visits to the facility. So they call them top 30 visits. It's not necessarily the top 30 people in the draft. It's just like the top 30 visits that you get out of those people you've talked to. There's virtual visits, there's phone calls. I'm sure there's a lot of different variations. You can do a Zoom call, just like the COVID days, right? But you can have these visits but now it's nice to have, the ability to speak with these individuals in person, get to know them a little bit more. And, they always post on their social media where they're at. And, you kind of get to see. I think one of the players we'll talk about today posted a picture of Fred Warner, one of the players we had a visit with today. He took a picture of Dominic Puni's locker, and they were teammates in college. That was kind of cool to see. So, you're like, oh, man, maybe we could get this guy. He has a good, good relationship with the players on the team, and it's a good vibe. So we'll talk about that kind of stuff. So what is going on, everybody? What's up, Christine, Peter Parker, Debtopia? How the heck is everybody today? It's getting close to the draft. So it's always nice when the draft is here. We got some news also in terms of a player got suspended today. He's not a big player, but he gets suspended on your day off, man. And then, Ricky Persall, Jacob Cowing. There's been some minor news. Deommodore Lenoir he had some funny post on a story. I don't know if you guys saw the podcast with Julian Edelman. He has Games with Names. He has a really good podcast there on YouTube. I was watching it. He said a lot of stuff. I posted one clip out of it. I could have emptied the clip and posted everything, but I mean, I'm not going to post all their content. He did say, Puka Nacua was talking about Brock Purdy and how he doesn't think he should be paid in the 50s. If he does, it's probably going to be the end of their window, which I don't think that's a bad thing. But obviously, some people will say that's horrible to say. But we'll talk about it. He talked about his first game ever against the Niners when he was a rookie. And, it was a home game for the Rams. And, I mean, Niner fan just overpacked that place, and he was shook. He got booed. So we'll talk about that. But let's get into these 30 visits. There's been a lot of them. I don't remember the last time I came on here who we left off on. So we'll just go through some of those things. Well, yeah, Peter Parker said Kyle's son, Deommodore Lenoir. We'll talk about that. And fun fact, Kyle Shanahan's son, Carter, he actually follows me on all my social media platforms. So I was thinking about it today. Kyle Shanahan doesn't necessarily have a social media page. Kyle Shanahan doesn't have an Instagram or YouTube or a Twitter, but his son does. And that's how he gets all the tea. Shanahan's son follows me on social media. I'm sure he follows a lot of other accounts, not just me, but he follows me. So I'm sure when there's juicy news or stuff, people saying this, that, and the other, his son's telling me, yo, Dad, you want to know what they're saying? You want to know what he's saying? That's how he gets his tea. I was like putting the pieces together. I was like, oh, man. I saw he reposted my post on his story, and then I was on TikTok and I saw that he followed me on TikTok. I was like, oh, so I reached out, DM him. I said, yo, man, what's up, Kyle? So, I said, what's up, Carter? Hope all's good. I hope you like the post. He says, yeah, LOL. All my friends at school were hyped up that I was on the page. I was like, okay. So I was actually pretty funny, I thought. So, any case, let's get to the 30 visits. Today, there was a lot of players in in Santa Clara visiting the Niners. First and foremost, it was reported this morning from Adam Schefter that Ohio State University tackle Josh Simmons had a 30 visit schedule today. He was there in the building. Simmons is a good player, but he had a torn patella. I mean, that's a bad injury. He's got a similar injury to Drake Jackson, and I think that would be a very bad pick at 11. I think he's a good player, but the injury risk is very high. And, especially at a 11 pick, you don't want to reach for a guy. I mean, maybe in the second round you can get him if he slides there, but I still wouldn't pick him there. I know they need offensive tackle help. I just hope it's not Simmons. I think he's a very good player, but I don't want to build a team. I don't want to build around an injured player coming into the draft. That's a red flag. I think he could be a player, give him a redshirt year, maybe, but Niners can't afford that. That'd be a luxury pick that you don't really have the luxury of. And maybe they're thinking, okay, he could replace Trent next year. Well, we need someone this year. So I don't think that would be a wise decision. Yesterday, Purdue offensive lineman Marcus Mbow had a 30 visit as well. This is a guy that's probably more of a late round pick. He's an interior lineman. So this is a guy maybe keep a flyer on, but they're looking at linemen. That's what the 30 visits are telling me. Again, they may not draft these guys, but it does tell you kind of where their mindset's at. Offensive line, definitely. When you look at Simmons, when you look at Marcus Mbow, right? Those are players that the 49ers are looking at. And it's nice to know that they're looking at offensive linemen. Because I think all of us can sit here and say they need an offensive lineman. I don't think they're going to get a tackle early. I've said that already, but I do think that they'll probably go and get a guard because they need to replace Aaron Banks. Whether you think Ben Bartch is the answer or not, they have to replace Aaron Banks because I don't know if I believe in Ben Bartch being able to stay healthy through a season. He hasn't started in years. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and I think that would be something that they are going to look into and get a player that could probably start at left guard, just like last year. They got a right guard, and Dominic Puni became a very, very reliable starter, and the sky's the limit. We're excited about Dominic Puni in year 2. So 100%, I think they'll pluck a guard in the draft to play as starting guard on the left side. So, again, keep an eye on this situation. The 49ers got Dominic Puni in 3rd round last year. They might do it again, right? A couple other players the 49ers looked into. James Pierce, Tennessee defensive end, edge rusher. He visited the 49ers today. This was according to Rap Sheet. Good player. This is a very, very, very talented player. He would definitely be a guy that could come on, be explosive on the edge with Nick Bosa. They're definitely going to look into the defensive line. We've talked about it. Larry said it. They need to strengthen this defensive line. And I think, James Pierce is a guy they're going to look into. Whether they take him or not, be determined. But again, this is just another look into who are they looking into. They're definitely looking into these edge rushers, and the 49ers could benefit big time. Because if you look at the D-line, the depth is lacking, not just on the interior D-line, but the edge. You have nothing. Robert Beal, Drake Jackson, you got Charles O, and then you have, Yetur Gross-Matos after Bosa. And that doesn't really strike a chord. It doesn't really strike fear in my eyes. So they definitely need to get a guy that's just nasty. He can hit you in the mouth and run after the quarterback, and also set the edge. So it'll be interesting to see which edge rushers they end up taking. But yeah, James Pierce, he was in the building today. We'll see how it goes. Another guy that had a 30 visit today was cornerback from Western Michigan, Bilal Cohn. He had a 30 visit today. According to his social media, he posted that he was in the building. This is a guy that's probably a late round pick. The 49ers have done really well with late round cornerbacks. If you think about it overall, I don't think this is a guy that's going to start right away, but they need depth. They need special teamers. Could look at him. He was a very fast 40-yard dash today. He's a late round guy. Like I said, he ran a 4.43 40. He only allowed 2 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. Now, also, you got to realize Western Michigan, he's not playing big time talent, but I mean, still, the talent that was in front of him, he played very good. And a 4.4340 is good. So, late round guy, good measurables. It's good tonight. Again, he's smaller, but you got to realize that, hey, 49ers, they're going to look at all options. They're going to get depth. You can't just get all blue chippers. They're going to get guys that they think fit their system, but he could be a nickel guy from what it looks like. That they need a nickel corner. You know, you're going to have Renardo and Diamond Lenore. If you don't get another veteran corner, maybe you get a guy that you could throw in the slot. Because right now, Trey Brown is projected to be that third corner, and I don't know if he's going to be able to start out here. He's coming off injury. You know, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on Trey Brown. I think he's a good, depth piece, but I don't want him to start. I think there's definitely better options, and maybe you go get a later round guy to be a nickel corner. You know, a couple years back, 49ers had K'Waun Williams. You guys remember him? K'Waun was great, man, and that's kind of something I feel like Robert Saleh is going to want to bring back, a guy that's, really, really, really talented in the slot, and I think that could be, somebody they look into. So keep an eye on that. Pretty interesting to know. So last couple days ago, it was also reported yesterday that Ole Miss linebacker Chris Paul Jr. had a 30 visit scheduled this week. This is another really good linebacker. 49ers have looked at linebackers a lot over the last couple of days. A lot of 30 visits with linebackers. I'm excited to get any linebacker because the 49ers need to continue to build that depth. They have Tatum Bethune last year. They got D. Winters is the guy that they're looking into, maybe taking that leap this year. But, Jerry Greenlaw is not just going to be able to be replaced by one guy. Maybe it's going to take a couple of guys, but maybe they find a star like a Teddy Buchanan or somebody that's just like a top talent, a top caliber linebacker. Fred Warner. Maybe they get a guy that's as good as Fred Warner. Now, the thing about Fred Warner, he was a third-round pick. Nobody thought he was going to be Fred Warner. So maybe they find a guy that could be the next Fred Warner type guy. So they're really looking into linebackers. And again, one of the guys that they've met with this week or will meet with this week is Chris Paul Jr. A very good player. I like the guy. I don't think they'll take him at 11, but he's definitely a guy in the mix that they're going to look into. They've looked at a lot of linebackers. And if they don't take a linebacker in the first 4 rounds, I'd be a little surprised, actually. I do think they'll get a linebacker early. So, again, they've also looked at defensive tackles. They looked at Toledo defensive tackle Darius Alexander. He had a 30 visit this week. So, definitely looking at defensive line depth. They're going to pick at least 2 defensive tackles in this draft. If they pick anything less than that, I'd be shocked. I can see them pick 3, but they need defensive line depth, defensive tackle edge for sure. What else did we mentioned some of these players the other day. A couple days ago, we said that Kobe Bryant would be visiting this week. Kansas cornerback Kobe Bryant. He was in the building today. And tight end from Texas Tech, I believe. What was the guy's name? He was in the building today, actually. And he met with, he took a pick. He snagged a little pick with Fred Warner. This is Jalen Conyers, Texas Tech. Tight end. The 49ers have looked into tight ends a lot as well. So linebackers, tight ends, they're looking at those guys. Conyers could be the guy that they take a tight end, but they've looked at a lot of tight ends. So, and I'm just going to say it's going to be him, but they've definitely looked at tight ends, and that's a position I think they'll 100% get. They need to help, Kittle also find the heir apparent to him, and in 2-3 years he may retire, and maybe they get the guy that replaces him. So, eventually down the line. And they just need help because they've been searching for tight end 2s for years and they just can't find a guy. They got some good blocking tight ends, but you need another tight end that can help. And, you got to realize, right? No Debo, Brandon Ayuk's going to be on the shelf for a little bit. Go get some more offensive help. It doesn't just have to be a wide receiver. It can be a tight end that can go play like a wide receiver. So it'll be interesting. Again, they've had several other tight ends that they've met with, but that was the more latest one. And again, going back to Kobe Bryant, he was in the building today, and he gave a shout-out to Dominic Pooney. He says, that guy for real life GOAT. And obviously, those 2 guys played in college. Sometimes it's cool when you have a player that's on your team, and he has this former teammate on the team, and it's like, oh, man, so they already have a vibe. So that'd be cool to have a guy that's already got a good connection with one of the players on the team. That's always good for chemistry, good for the locker room. But I really like Kobe Bryant. This is a good cornerback. I would be happy if they can get Kobe. You got Renardo Green, Kobe Bryant, and Diamond Lenore. That would be a fantastic cornerback trio right there. Kobe's very, very, very good. He's a very damn good cornerback. I don't know. Second round pick. I don't know if they take a cornerback that early. Although a lot of people have them mocked to take a cornerback in their first round. So you never know. They might trade back, right? If they trade back, maybe you can afford to get a cornerback. You just need to get the best available players. Sometimes you go get a position that many people don't think you need, but if he's a damn good player, he's going to help your team regardless. So the thing about this draft is you just need to get as many good stars as you can, as many good players as you can. 49ers lack depth. They're a 6-win team last year. Just get talent and stack it. So I would love to see Kobe Bryant on this team. So Debtopia says, Salah must be happy. There's some great choices. There's a lot of talent. And I think they're going to really make sure they give Salah a lot of weapons on this team, right? He's a great defensive coordinator, but you need the talent. And you need to have a good coach to be able to coach this talent. And I think they have the coach. I think they have the plan. Now they just need to get the talent for him to execute that plan. So I'm excited to see what players they add for, Salah. And everybody says, oh, in an offense, you need weapons. You need, a quarterback needs his weapons. Well, on defense, it's the same thing. You need weapons. You can't just throw anybody out there. You need to have good linebackers. You need to have solid corners. You need to have good defensive linemen. If you have good defensive linemen and you get pressure on the quarterback, that's going to help take pressure off the corners, right, and the safeties and the defensive backs. And, just if you have a good linebacking trio, it's just going to help everybody, right? They can kind of come up, help in the run game. If you have a good coverage linebacker, it's going to help too, right? Just like Fred Warner. He's so good. He's kind of the best of both worlds, but he's a really, really good coverage linebacker, and it helps everybody. He's the quarterback of that defense. So 100% they need to get some damn good players on defense. So Deb says we really need to bash this draft 100%. Ian says we'd be surprised if we drafted much offense apart from running back and a tight end. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people think it's gonna be a defense heavy draft. I think they will get some offense players. You need some. It's not like the offense was world beaters last year. They struggled a lot. Red zone, especially running back. You need a running back. You need depth, right? We don't know 100% if Christian McCaffrey is going to be fully healthy. We hope so, but you also need insurance policy. I think Garendo will be great this year, but you also need depth behind him. The 49ers go through running backs a lot. They usually go through 4 or 5 running backs here, so you definitely need depth just in case. That's a tough position. Tight end, like you said, we talked about it. You need another tight end because they've been failing in finding a tight end too for a long time. And then I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they take a wide receiver. I know they took Pearsall last year. They got Jacob Cowing, and those two guys are really building a lot of chemistry. If you saw his YouTube today, it's great, man. Him, Ricky Pearsall, and Jacob Cowing have just been on a great vibe this offseason, training together, going, golfing together. They're on a yacht together. They were on jet skis together with Isaac Garendo also. It was funny. Isaac Garendo came for all the fun stuff, and then he let them train together. I'm sure he's doing his own training. I mean, we also saw Isaac Garendo training with Frank Gore and Jonathan Taylor. So he has his own training, and running backs train a little different from wide receivers, right? So they're going to do different drills and stuff, but it's fun because after Isaac Garendo is done training and he's done with his stuff, he's met up with Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall, and they're having fun. They're on a yacht. They're jet ski. They're playing golf. It's so nice to see all these young players that were drafted together last year vibe. They're like they're not just teammates. They're best friends, and you can see the bond growing. I love that YouTube. I was like, man, I really like this video that Ricky Pearsall put together because it was good quality. He's a good vlogger, man. He's got a future in content creation if NFL doesn't work out for it. But I hope it does. But what I'm saying is, got a good young team, but you also need some other weapons. Just because you have these guys doesn't mean you can't add more, So Pearsall, Cowing, Garendo, they're going to be solid this year, but you need to get them some help too. And Jennings also, he'll be great. But I think they will get a wide receiver in this draft. At least one. At least one. I'd be surprised if they didn't get a wide receiver in this draft. You got 11 picks as of now. You don't get a wide receiver, I will be so shocked. There's some good ones out there. So let's see. Yeah, some other questions. Let's take a look at any other news. Let's talk about the big. I guess you could say it's the big news, right? Let me take a look at this. A couple other things actually. Oh yeah, okay. So Yeah, 49ers had a player get suspended. He got suspended today for violating the league's policy of performance enhancing substances. So Isaac Alarcon, offensive lineman, Isaac Alarcon. He's part of the international player pathway. This guy never played last year for the team. He was on the practice squad. This guy is going to be suspended 6 games without pay for violating the league's policy of performance enhancing substances. This was according to Matt Mayoko. This is crazy, dude. Like, he didn't even play last year. You're taking substance enhancers, and you can't even see the field. So this guy probably is going to be cut. He got an opportunity from the player pathway, international player pathway. Those guys, I haven't seen any one of those international player pathway players ever even make a team. I don't know. We had a couple other guys, Alfredo Gutierrez a couple years ago. He was like a preseason guy. He got a game ball for playing in his first game, and they clapped him up. It's like, come on, dude. These guys, it's soft. These guys never even play. But it's just to like bring exposure to other countries. I don't know. But he got suspended for 6 games. He's probably gonna get. He wasn't even gonna make the roster anyways. But I mean, again, this is all according to the NFL. They do their tests and stuff. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't take anything illegal. But chances are you're taking banned substances, you're going to get caught, and you probably did it. But, I mean, it's just crazy, man. This guy couldn't see the field, and you're taking performance-enhancing substances. How good is he? Offensive lineman took steroids. Yeah, a lot of them probably do. But he got caught, and he's not a very good player, I guess. So, good for him. He'll be cut. Al Arco. He got suspended 6 games, and he doesn't get paid. And you know what? You're a practice squad player, so you're probably not getting paid as much as most of those guys. So you're a pretty cook. You better go find another job. The NFL is not for you. Do you think we will trade up in the draft, says Wyatt? I don't think so. I saw those reports. Not reports, those rumors. I saw a lot of people saying, 49ers, there's reports saying that they're going to trade up. No, they're not. They're not going to trade up. Why? This is a year where they need talent. They need more talent than less talent. You trade up, you're losing a lot of talent unless you can get some heavy-duty, players in return or something in return. Or there's like a blue-chip player that you're like, oh, my God, we have to have. I don't think the 49ers just need one guy. They need to make sure they hit on these 11 players. If anything, the 49ers trade back. I don't think they trade up. I just don't think it makes sense for them to trade up this season. I think if they're going to trade, they trade back. Again, never know. Anything can happen. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not a possibility, but I give it a very, very, very low chance for that to happen. But again, we'll see how it goes. Again, if you were to ask me, guarantee, gun in my head, I'm going to say the 49ers don't trade up. Again, if anything, I think they trade back. They need to get more picks. They need depth. So Wyatt says, do you think we will take Walter Nolan at 11? I think it's a possibility. Honestly, this is kind of crazy. There's a lot of talent on the board, and you just really don't know what direction the 49ers are going to go. I just can't get a read on him. I think it's going to be defensive lineman, but if he's the best available, maybe they take him, but they could go a lot of other ways. I mean, you never know, because quarterback might change the way the draft goes, right? The Saints are probably going to take quarterback now. If they trade up or something, that can open it up for another guy that's on the board that you're like, oh, my God, I can't believe he's on the board. But I think there's a 75% chance maybe that Walter Nolan's a guy that the 49ers could get. He's definitely going to be available at 11. And then it's just a matter of, is he the best guy that the 49ers have on their board? And I think it's a possibility that Walter Nolan could be on the 49ers. I like him. I think he'd be fantastic. I think he'd be a nasty player on this defensive line. I think Robert Saleh would love to have him. He had a guy that dominated inside the trenches a couple years, where he was with the Jets, Quentin Williams. He also had, when he was with the 49ers, he had DJ Jones. That was a nasty guy up front. I think you need a guy like that, a nasty guy up front. And I think Walter Nolan could be that guy. So, yeah, I would love to see it. I don't know if they will, but I think there's a possibility. Let's see. BA won't start week 1, says Debtopia. I don't think so either. I don't think he'll start week 1. That's why wide receiver is really important this year. And we really got to see Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing take that leap. And again, they're really working hard. I think they will take a a nice little leap. And then Juwan Jennings, man, like I think he's determined to become a just bigger part of this offense. And he was top receiver last year. It's a contract year for Jennings again. And I mean, you've seen him. He's been putting in his work, his videos and everything he's been posting. You could just see the work ethic. I mean, obviously NFL players are working out there. It's not like groundbreaking. Oh, look, 49er player posted a training video, workout video. But the reason why I like to post them, obviously it's content, it's free content. And, it's something for us to kind of talk about and look at. But also it's football. There's not a lot of things going on in the off season. So it's really the one thing that we can post that, concrete information that's like, oh, Brock Purdy and George Kittle, they're working together. Oh, Juwan Jennings, he's working. Oh, Isaac Guerrero, he's working with Frank Gore. Like, it's cool to see those things. Like, yes, obviously football players are training. That's part of their job. It's not like, oh, football player, he's training. Like, a lot of people, when we post those, it's like, oh my God, okay, I get it, he's training. But it's good to see like what they're doing, how they're training, who are they training with. And again, it's just football. We're so starved for content in the off season. And we just, training videos are at the top of the pyramid when you're, looking for content. And sometimes it's cool to see who they're training with, who are they working with. And, sometimes the people that are filming, the videographers and the photographers, those guys love it when their content gets posted because it's like good exposure for them. That's their job, so it's a good all around world to post those things. And again, gives exposure to the big trainers. Like, right, there's some big time trainers out there. That's their job. And then when they get exposure, it's like, okay, cool. And it gives them, more media attention and it helps them with their job. So it helps everybody out. But also, again, just something to look at during the off season because there's not a lot of real concrete things going on. A lot of rumors most of the time in the off season, other than free agency week when the signings happen, other than the draft week when the draft happens. But otherwise, it's just rumors, smoke and mirrors, and then hearsay in podcasts. So Wyatt says Will Campbell or Armand Membu. That's tough. Armand's kind of been one of those guys that's really risen up the boards because he's impressed, pro day and combine and measurables, all those things. Will Campbell has a really good body of work through his career. It's not that Membu hasn't, but I mean, Will Campbell was the guy that you look at him, you ask people, you see him on game day on Saturdays. Oh my God, Will Campbell. Everybody knows who Will Campbell is. He's in the running for awards, but then the measurables come and say, oh, he has short arms. Is he not going to do it? But if I had to choose between those two guys, I'd probably choose Will Campbell. I've been a Will Campbell guy since, I saw him play last year and I was like, oh, I really like this guy. The film is great too. I mean, you look at the film and it shows how good he is. So film don't lie. Membu is good, but I mean, you really can't go wrong with either of those two guys, but I think Will Campbell would be my pick if I had to choose. Both good guys. Nathan, what's good, man? Wyatt says, when do you think Purdy will get a new contract? My prediction as of last week when Larry asked me, I said on the first day of the draft, I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to change it. I don't know how certain that's going to be, but I do think that they're going to get the deal done by I think they'll get it done soon. My prediction was day one of the draft. I think that's going to be the big, holy smoke. The 49ers just made the biggest headline on draft day. I think that the Niners love to steal the headlines. So I think I'm going to still say it's draft day one next Thursday, but I'll probably be wrong. Now, the cool thing is Brock Purdy, despite not having a contract, he's training with everybody. He's out there with George Kittle, having a great time right there in Nashville. They're training together. And then the other cool part is he was in his private field training with George Kittle, working out. They're at their strength training. George Kittle knows Josh Cutbirth. He's the big strength trainer that trains him every year. And now Brock's training with him over there with Justin Skule and everybody else he trains with. I think Aaron Burks, former linebacker for the 49ers, who's on the Eagles. He trains with him. For George Kittle, once you become his teammate and his friend, you're his guy for life. And Brock Purdy trains with them. Now CJ Beathard's out there training with them. So, it's good. It's cool to see Brock still training. There was a snippet on Ricky Persall's YouTube promo video a couple of days ago where it shows Brock Purdy and him training. I can't wait till he releases that whole full footage. It's going to be gas. I can't wait because that's going to be great content. But also, it's just cool to see like Brock Purdy training with his teammates, which, again, people are going to say, oh, wow, quarterback's training with his teammates. he's in a contract here. He's literally in a contract situation trying to get the numbers done, and he's training with his teammate. He's out there doing his thing. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, a lot of guys, they were kind of holding back on training. They weren't always with their guys. They were doing their own thing because they wanted to make sure they got their contract. They didn't want to get hurt. It's kind of nice to see Brock Purdy out there doing his thing with the teammates. And that kind of tells me that even if he doesn't have a contract by OTAs, he's still going to be there. I think even if he doesn't have a contract during training camp, he's going to be there. I don't think he's going to hold out. It's kind of nice to see. I mean, I could be 100% wrong, but the vibe I get, the temperature check I get when I see these things, I'm like, Brock Purdy's not going to hold out, is he? Brock Purdy's not going to, sit there and miss training camp. He's not going to do it. I mean, the fines are bigger than his whole contract. So if he can't do it. Brock Purdy's contract is the way he's getting paid right now. I mean, it's maybe $1 million for a quarterback. That's pennies. If he misses training camp and he gets fined, 1 day is more than any money he's ever made so far. Like, there's no way for him to miss training camp right now. If he doesn't have a contract under his current situation, he's going to get fined more than he's getting paid, I'm pretty sure, right? My man Wyatt says, I got a flight at 4 a.m. Have a safe flight, Wyatt. Appreciate you, man. Take care. Have a safe flight. Training camp. Let me see. Training camp fine. Training camp fines. $40,000 per day. Okay. That does not apply to players on the 5th-year option of the rookie deal who are subject to a $50,000 fine. So Brock Purdy would get fined $40,000 per day. Brock Purdy's contract. Let me see. How much is he? How much is Brock Purdy getting paid? Current base salary is he's got $5 million this year. Okay. He signed a 4-year, $3.7 million contract. Oh, wait, sorry. 5.34. Yeah, so he's his annual base salary of $934,252 ranks 54th among NFL quarterbacks. So yeah, he's got a base salary this year of $5.346 million. That's not much compared to quarterbacks. The thing is, yeah, if he misses a couple of training camps, half his money's gone this year. Most of his money's gone this year. So it's just not smart for him to miss training camp. So I don't think he is. I think he's going to try to lock down that contract before training camp starts. And that's why I think he wanted it to be quick. I think that's one of the reasons why he says, I want this contract to get taken care of. He knows, shit, if I don't have my contract, I can't hold out because I'm going to get fined more than I'm really making this year. So it kind of behooves him in that sense. And Brock Purdy has to get his contract done before training camp starts. He's going to get cooked if he doesn't. So I don't think the Niners are playing games with Brock. I think he's going to get it taken care of. I don't think there's going to be any drama. Honestly, the way I see it, we've seen Debo, we've seen Brandon Ayuk, we even see Nick Bosa. There was drama. I think there's going to be no drama this year. And it's going to be like, that's kind of weird. It's going to be weird. It's just going to be like, oh, the guy done. There's no drama. That's the vibe I get. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just don't think I'm going to be wrong on this one. We'll see. We'll see. That's pretty much the big news of the day, right? Nothing too crazy. Again, off season, there's not much going on. A lot of prospects coming to the house and a lot of smoke and mirrors going around the news sites. So I don't know. Nothing else pretty much, 49ers are just getting ready for the draft next week. So I'm excited. I can't wait for the draft. I'm as curious as you guys are because I have no clue what the 49ers are going to do. I wish I knew. I wish I knew every pick. I wish that John Lynch would call me right now and said, Raj, here's your draft picks. Write them down. Save them. Tell the 49 fans. I don't care. Rashad says, am I going back home this weekend for WrestleMania? No, I'm going to stay in the Bay and watch. I really wanted to go to WrestleMania, but nobody else I knew was in the same tax bracket as me, unfortunately. So I didn't want to go by myself. Although I do know one person that's going night 1, but he's not going to go night 2. And I was like, well, I don't want to go just one night. And I don't know. We'll see. Logistics sometimes is tough, but I could fly out and go, but I'm gonna stay in the Bay and watch here. But I don't know. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for WrestleMania this weekend. Tell Kyle Shanahan's kid to get Brock Purdy deal done. Let's talk about Kyle Shanahan's kid, shall we? Carter Shanahan, my guy. Carter Shanahan's my guy, man. My guy. I'm gonna tell him to get that deal done. Listen. So this morning, we'll end this on some fun stuff, right? Deommodore Lenoir, I mean, he's trolling. He's been making jokes all off season. This guy, I love Deommodore Lenoir. This guy's hilarious. Let's make him a captain. I hope he gets a captain badge this year. He really deserves it. He's funny. He's just, he talks a lot. Some people don't like it because he's talking trash. He better back it up this year, 100%. He needs to back it up, or you can roast him. I don't care. But his top wide receiver list is actually pretty funny. I mean, again, he was just making jokes to all the receivers in the league. He says, the best wide receivers in the league I've faced in my 4-year career: Cody Cleary. I think it's like an equipment manager. Number 2 was Carter, Kyle's son. And then number 3, Finding Mimo, who also is another equipment manager, I believe, for the 49ers. He says, the rest of y'all, free smoke. So he's free smoke. He says, all these other wide receivers in the league, they're free smoke. I got him. But he says Cody Cleary, Carter, which is Kyle's son, and Finding Mimo, 2 equipment managers, and Kyle's son are the best wide receivers in the league he's faced. And, Carter, he's a high schooler. He's in, I posted a picture of him, and he's a high school wide receiver. He comes to training camp every year, and I'm sure he gets to go up and route up against the, Deommodore Lenoir and all these players. And so it was funny that he says, man, Carter, one of the best wide receivers I've lined up against across all the wide receivers I've lined up in the last 4 years in the NFL, saying Carter's better than a lot of these wideouts in the league. That was funny, man. And then so Carter posted on his story, and then I'm sitting there I was actually searching for pictures of Carter. I said, let me just slide in the picture of Carter if I can find it. And then I'm on his TikTok, and I see it, and I see he's following me. I was like, oh, he's following me on TikTok? Let me follow him all the way back. And then I go on Instagram. I was like, if he's following me on TikTok, he's probably following me on Instagram, right? So I go to his Instagram. Yeah, we're following each other. I forgot he even had an Instagram. So he posted on his story. And I'm like, oh, shit, Carter is Kyle's informant, his social media informant. I figured it out. Kyle Shanahan's son, Carter, is his social media informant. I mean, of course, he's on social media. He's a high school kid. High school kids are always on their phone, right? That's my daughter. And that's what they do. So he's probably sees the news, and he runs and tells Kyle. So I'm going to tell Kyle's son, sorry, I'm going to tell Carter, yo, go get this Brock Purdy deal done, man. You're my boy now. So maybe I could be the guy that helps Kyle Shanahan this year. Maybe. It was funny, though, when I saw that. That story was funny, dude. I was like, dang, Carter. Oh, he's got some drip, man. I saw his pictures on his Instagram. Got some drip. I hope Carter ends up being a good wide receiver, but I don't know. I mean, his dad was a wide receiver, so he's following in his footsteps. It's pretty funny, though, to see him every year at training camp. He's out there. He's living the dream, man. I would love to be Carter, during training camp. I mean, it's your last couple of weeks of summer break. You're out there hanging out with your dad at training camp, playing with the 49er players and just chilling. That's a great life, man. He's probably got a really good life. So shout out to Carter, man. Cool kid, cool guy. I want to say what's up to him one day. Actually, real quick before we go, one of my old employees, when I used to be the director at this rehab clinic, this therapist that was working under for me, his son, actually both of his sons, are really good at basketball. So good, super good. And all state, everything. And I think at the time, I don't remember if it was Carter. I don't know. I know he says Kyle Shanahan's son was one of the players he's played up against. Every time he'd go up there and he would play against them, and he saw my son work them. His son was good. So yeah, I believe it. But he says he met Kyle Shanahan many times at the basketball tournaments. So yeah, it was pretty funny. He's like, oh, Kyle's there. And he would always send me pictures. He's like, post it on your page. Post it on your page. I was like, I can't do that. But he's like, yeah, we met Kyle's son and this and that. So, shout out to Kyle's Kyle. Shout out to Kyle. Shout out to Carter. I gotta get him on the show. Maybe I should get Carter. I should get Carter on Instagram. Maybe I'll be like, yo, you want to do a live, man? Let me ask. That'd be fun. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Not a lot of news going on. A lot of smoke, though. Next week, we'll get some real news when the NFL draft comes, and we actually get to hear who the hell the 49ers are drafting. You said all these speculation and posts. I kind of get irritated sometimes. I'm like, I see the 30 visit. Oh, we go post it. Because to me, like, sometimes it's just like, oh, God, it's all hearsay. It's all smoke. It's just as big as a rumor. No one cares. But you got to keep posts going. Von Miller, says Rashad. When do we get Von Miller? I don't think we get Von Miller. I hope we don't get Von Miller. I don't want to get Von Miller. That guy's old in NFL terms. Don't get Von Miller. You need young talent. The 49ers shouldn't get young, my guy. They're not trying to get old. Oh, man. Niner Goat says, no Mykel Williams, slow and stiff. Yeah, I'm not a big Mykel Williams guy. I think the talent around him at Georgia made him look better, made him look good. I don't think I want Mykel Williams because the 49ers don't have a lot of talent on defense right now. And if you're going to make him a big centerpiece, probably not a good idea. I agree with you. I think there's better options if they're going to get, edge rushers and defensive linemen in the draft. I agree. I would pass on Mykel Williams. I'm not a big Mykel Williams guy. Now, granted, if he goes to some team like Philadelphia, he'd probably be good because they have a lot of talent and he wouldn't have to be that focal point on their defense. So it just depends. Sometimes it's relative to your draft position. Sometimes it's, where you go, situation you end up on, coaching, things like that. It sucks because I hate the Eagles, but if they draft a defensive lineman, that player is going to be absolutely good because they have so much talent on that D-line, and it's just going to be hard not to be good and put up numbers. You know what I mean? So it's going to be irritating because we're going to watch this draft and we're going to be like, how the hell did the Eagles get this guy? But it's what happens, right? The cookie crumbles, players drop. Some teams need certain positions and they have to take these guys. And then players fall, and teams like the Eagles right there sitting there, and they reap the benefits. So that's the one irritating thing about the draft. So, but I agree. No Mykel Williams to the Niners. I'm excited to see who the hell 49ers draft. But in any case, that's it for tonight. You guys have a good one. And shout out to my Warriors. Took care of business last night, man. Unbelievable. Heart attack game. I've been thinking, man, maybe I should do a Warriors content. I should just do Warriors content. I don't know. So I post a lot of Warriors stuff on my personal page. And people are like, you're just like a Warriors page. I was like, maybe I should. I don't know. But shout out to the Warriors. Gave me a heart attack. Gave all you guys a heart attack. That was a stressful game, but glad they won. Rockets next. I'm watching this Dallas-Sacramento game. Sacramento's down 20 points. They're getting cooked. Down 18. 9 minutes to go in the fourth. They're about done. It's going to be Memphis versus Dallas. Memphis versus Dallas on Friday night. Kings are cooked. We'll see how the rest of the playoffs go. A couple more questions. See, we say we're going to go. You guys put questions, and we'll keep talking. So Anthony says, would you mind if T-Mac drops to 11 and we pick him up? Honestly, man, I would not hate that. I know we don't need a wide receiver. I know it's a luxury pick. But if you get Ted McMillan, that'd be nasty. I wouldn't hate it. I'll put it that way. I wouldn't hate it, but it would definitely be a luxury, and we still would suffer defensively. So I wouldn't hate it because he would really be a nasty player for this offense. It's like, oh, man, it'd be unbelievable to have him on the offense, especially with Brandon Ayuk, right, returning from big injury. You can not have to rush him. You can let him recover at his own pace, and this kid's going to be a dog, right? But at the same time, defense to me is such a big need. If you passed on a defensive player, and it could be like a Hall of Famer or like a blue chipper, like Pro Bowl type guy, you're really going to do a disservice to your team. So, yeah, I wouldn't hate it because he's a very, very good player. And it's like, okay, you get a starter, you get a star on your team, but you're sacrificing a position you absolutely need, and that would suck. So, yeah, I wouldn't hate it, but I don't think the Niners can afford to take that luxury at 11. I mean, he's a good player, though. Niner Goat says Derek Harmon is looking better and better. Oh man, yeah, I like Derek Harmon. I wouldn't be mad at all if he's the pick. Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, you can't go wrong with those guys. Derek Harmon's a fantastic player. Niners like Oregon players. They've met with him, during the pro day and everything. So it's definitely a guy I can see the 49ers getting. I like him. Definitely would be fun. David said Salgado, a wide receiver, would be ideal if Ayuk was getting traded, but it looks unlikely. Yeah, I don't think Ayuk's getting traded. I mean, at this point, they gave him his guaranteed bonus, roster bonus. There's no way they get rid of him. They've kind of they've mended everything. They're gonna keep Ayuk. He's gonna rehab. He'll be back this year, and I don't think the Niners are gonna trade him at this point. So yeah, but they still could use a wide receiver. But definitely Ayuk could be sticking around. So okay, with that, yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Short notice, late show. It is what it is. Appreciate you. I know we didn't have many people talk today, but it's all good. Better than nothing. Y'all have a blessed night. Love you. Go Niners.